SnowSport LT Plow install. Today, we would like to show you how easy it is to install the SnowSport LT Plow. Prior to the plow assembly, park the vehicle on level grade and install the new front plow mount receiver. Please be aware that each front mount receiver has its own instructions and varies by truck model. First, gather the tools needed for the install. Step 1. Insert the interceptor into the receiver with the leg up, secure with pins. Hold the push frame against the interceptor and select a 4-bolt hole pattern that positions the push frame 6 to 8 inches above grade. If the lowest bolt pattern is too high, remove the interceptor and turn the leg down. Bolt the push frame to proper hole height on the interceptor. Leave the bolts snug tight for now. Push the set collar tight against the receiver. Then hold and tighten the set screw with a 3/16 inch Allen wrench. Step 2. With the bolts snug tight, level the push frame horizontally. Check the push frame for vertical plumb. If plumb, tighten the 4 bolts now and go to step 3. If the push frame leans towards the front of the vehicle, place the shim at the top pair of bolts. If the push frame leans away from the front of the vehicle, place the shim at the bottom pair of bolts. When the shimming is complete, tighten all 4 bolts. Step 3. Each end of the rubber cutting edge has 2 factory marks to match with the holes in the skid bracket. Drill them out with a 5/16 inch bit and mount the skid bracket there with the bolts, flat washer, lock washer, and nut. Tighten the bolts until the head sinks flush with the rubber surface. Repeat at the other end. Step 4. Align the groove on the rubber with the groove in the blade so the skid brackets face the back side of the blade. Slide the rubber into the channel in the bottom of the blade and center it. Step 5. Locate the factory marks on the back side of the blade. Place the slide hinge on the blade and align both of the lower holes with the marks on the blade. Step 6. With the flat side up, insert the 2 square nuts into the channel at the end of the blade. Insert the bolts through the holes in the slide hinge and thread onto the nuts inside the blade. Make sure both of the lower holes in the slide hinge are still in line with the mark on the blade, and then tighten the 2 top bolts. Repeat at the other end. Step 7. First, with the rubber centered on the blade, use both of the lower holes in each of the slide hinges as a guide to drill 5/16 inch holes through the first layer of aluminum and partially into the rubber. Then, turn a 3/8 inch thread cutting bolt into each hole and tighten to secure each hinge. Second, at the factory mark near each end of the blade, drill a 5/16 inch hole through the first layer of aluminum and partially into the rubber. Then turn a 3/8 inch thread cutting bolt into each hole and tighten. Step 8. Hang the blade assembly into the retainer grooves on the push frame. Insert the keyhole pins into the holes on the push frame. Step 9. Turn the hex jam nut with the flange facing down onto the threaded base of the marker. Insert the square nut with the flat side up into the blade channel. Align the marker with the edge of the blade. Turn the base fully into the square nut and tighten the jam nut. Repeat for the marker at the other end. Operating instructions. How to lower blade for pushing snow. Step behind and remove a keyhole pin. Lift one side of the blade out of the retainer until the slide hinge fits over the push bar. Then lower the blade to the ground. Repeat the same procedure for the other side of the blade. Then reinsert the keyhole pin. How to store blade for transporting. Step behind and remove a keyhole pin. Lift one side of the blade up until the slide hinge fits into the retainer. Then reinsert the keyhole pin. Repeat the same procedure for the other side of the blade.